Everyone has the same question. Why? What is the main cause of distrust between police and Black America? Some say it's rooted in a police strategy known as zero tolerance. That means police arrest people for minor infractions, or some say on the mere suspicion of criminal activity. That policy started in Baltimore in the early 2000s. In 2005 alone, police arrested more than 108,000 people in a city of 640,000. Edward Norris led Baltimore's police department from 2000 to 2002. He's credited with a significant drop in the city's murder rate, and many in Baltimore loved him. Today, he hosts a popular Baltimore radio show. You might know him from David Simon's The Wire. He starred as a detective.
And did you and Vonell shoot your boy Pookie down on Carey Street just like Monell said you did?
No.
Lie. You lying mother.
Machine is never wrong, son.
There you saw Edward Norris. Edward Norris joins me live now. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being with me.
Thanks. Good to see you again, Carol.
Nice to see you again, too. I want to talk about this zero tolerance policy. Did you and the mayor at the time, Martin O'Malley, start that policy?
I never, ever brought zero tolerance here, but I was labeled with it by some of the politicians, Martin O'Malley, of course, and the media, and they ran with it. I brought down the broken windows theory from New York. I learned under Bill Bratton, and the idea was you use minor offenses. If you had a series of serious crimes like shootings or robberies, and you could solve them, you go in and enforce like minor regulations, dice games, pot smoking, and then you talk to people who you had in custody about the serious issues. It was very targeted, and those arrests didn't go up substantially until after I left. I left in '02. Those things skyrocketed, '03, '04, '05.
Why did they skyrocket? You left the police department and you went on to the Maryland State Police after that, and I you know, the statistics from 2005 are shocking.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I got this from people anecdotally, but I believe it's true, you know, it's a lot harder than it looks to do it, you know, well. And I think people misunderstood, and some of the people in the mayor's staff particularly, I think they saw, well, we saw him do it for a couple of years. We can do this too. All you have to do is lock everybody up, and that's not how it works. And it created tremendous community mistrust because, according to what I was told, I interviewed a lot of people at the time, they were being arrested for drinking beer on their own stoops and doing things in their own homes or in front of their own homes, and it created a tremendous problem, the divide in the city.
Martin O'Malley is thinking about running for president, and he's using the crime drop, the crime rate drop in Baltimore as maybe one of the platforms, you know, in his presidential campaign. Should he, in light of what's happening now in the city of Baltimore?
Well, I mean, you can't take credit away from him. Crime did go down substantially, and he lured me down from New York to do exactly that, and I really believed in the cause and him, and it happened, and we did bring crime down and murders below 300 for the first time in over a decade. So he can point to that, but this is certainly something that is a negative when I believe people who didn't understand the program ran with it, and instead of using targeted enforcement on minor violations, went wild and started arresting people in big numbers.
So
Well, zero tolerance doesn't work. I mean, that's something I didn't employ. I want to stress that again. Zero tolerance is a bad policy. It's never going to work. You can't enforce zero tolerance in any city, but you can use targeted enforcement and strategic policing, much like you saw under Jack Maple in New York, John Miller, Bill Bratton, of course, the commissioner is back now. That works. Zero tolerance does not work, and I think the problem and the danger is when people misunderstand it, they take what is a great police strategy and a sea change in American policing and kind of twist and pervert into zero tolerance, and you end up with this kind of a problem.
So, in your opinion, what can be done now to restore some kind of trust between the police and the community? Because that seems impossible at the moment.
Yeah, it's not impossible. We'll get through this. This is a really resilient city. A lot of tension here. It's been simmering for a long time. But once the city's stabilized and calmed down, they got a great faith-based community here. I worked with all the ministers when I was police commissioner. I worked with the NAACP is headquartered here. There's a lot of really good people in town. The city leaders, the state, they'll get it through. There's some great community folks here with terrific organizers. This just shouldn't have happened, but they'll get through this. And then, you know what, this opens a dialogue as to why we got in this mess.
Commissioner Batts is about to hold a news conference at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I suppose he'll talk about this investigative report that he's about to turn over to the prosecutor's office. What should he say?
Well, I don't know what he's going to say. I think people are going to be disappointed. They've been kind of misled, I believe, to believe that this is going to come out and they'll be thumbing through a report tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be the case. This is going to the state's attorney, and she's going to have to make a decision, which may take a little time. I don't believe the public's going to hear anything differently tomorrow. I could be wrong, and maybe he'll reveal some things they have uncovered, but I'm not certain people are going to be satisfied. I think a lot of people are under the misunderstanding that this is going to be given out to the public in big numbers.
In all that you've seen so far, can you figure out what happened with Freddie Gray?
I have no idea. I mean, that's the problem. None of us know, and there's so much misinformation being spread about. I mean, there's some very trusted news sources giving us completely different stories. There was that report yesterday from the Post about Freddie Gray trying to hurt himself, and I believe they went with that. Then you had maybe the most esteemed investigative reporter in Baltimore. Jane Miller said, "No, I got information to the contrary. That did not happen." He said it was a quiet ride. So the problem is the information is so contradictory. We have no idea what happened, and now when you have a void or vacuum in information, it gets filled by the wrong message or misinformation.
And of course, many in the city are worried about, when this report comes out and there's no information and there's no charges, there might be riots anew in the city of Baltimore. As you know, Ray Lewis is in town. Is that helpful?
Yeah, Ray Lewis is very helpful. People may not realize it outside the city, but he is such an immense influence in this town. He is helpful. He's canceled his appearance at the draft tonight to be here to help the city through this.